Thank you for the introduction. It's a great pleasure to be here on the occasion of this beautiful gathering. This will be about AI and sovereignty and Europe and international cooperation. And first, let us say that AI took us all by surprise, in the sense that it's a very old field and that nobody really expected that we would all be talking about it in this way now in 2019. When I was a teenager fascinated by sciences, AI was in the books that I used to read. It did not look anything like what it is now. When I was starting my career as a researcher in mathematics, AI was a subject that we were not encouraged to go into. AI was a subject that was considered as lacking applications, very much in theory, lost in logic. And now, it's the subject of a very fierce competition between institutions, between companies, between nations. But also, the rules have changed. It was supposed to be mostly based on the understanding of causes, consequences, models, and the essence of reasoning and logic. And now it's all about big amounts of data, examples to calibrate the algorithms, and techniques that would have been considered 20 years ago as not very elegant. There was not so long ago a time in which the best experts in the world in computer science would tell you neural networks are a dead end and we've tried them for a long time without any success and AI has to come from another direction. And now we've seen that neural networks are so efficient that just a few days ago, the three people who did most to resurrect neural networks got the most coveted, most prestigious computer science prize in the world, the Turing Award. These were Yann LeCun, Yoshua Bengio, and Geoff Hinton. And the principles of the algorithms for which they got the prize goes back to the 80s at least. And still, it's only a few years ago that the power of these neural networks was uncovered and demonstrated with huge consequences for the kind of algorithms that are used around the world, but also for the hardware that is used, because neural networks live on GPU, not CPU. So we see at the level of hardware, at the level of software, at the level of the techniques used, also at the level of the impact. It's a very old subject, but the current keywords, key techniques, key recipes were quite unexpected. I was given charge of a mission for French strategy of AI that was in the fall of 2017, and it took 6 months for the mission to gather conclusions and to give back advice to the government with the French strategy that was set and announced in March 2018. The keywords which I chose to summarize the reflection and the spirit in which the strategy should be led were first experimentation, because AI has developed in such a pragmatic way that it needs experiments again and again, whether it be big programs or small research. Second keyword is about sharing, and in particular, organize the sharing of the data, organize the sharing of the skills. With huge problems related to the infrastructure and the format, but most of all, huge problems related to the amount of trust that allows the sharing of information and the amount of trust that allows the contact between people from various backgrounds with various skills. And the third keyword was sovereignty, because now AI is not just about science and technology. AI is about keeping control and not being robbed of what you want to do. Sovereignty at the level of the human-machine relation and make sure that we don't end up in doing things that we don't like to do, don't want to do. Sovereignty at the level of nations or continents and make sure that we don't depend on other partners that we don't have such close links with for the future of AI. Sovereignty will be in a number of fields and sectors. Sovereignty is about having the right amount of human resources, be it for the development of AI or for the cybersecurity. Sovereignty will be about being able to involve and invoke those resources for projects that are wanted and needed, for instance, by the public power, not just the private actors that have become so powerful in the field. Sovereignty is about having the computing power. And, for instance, it's admitted that there is a differential of investment if you compare Europe and America in just the field of enough computing resources that is in at least dozens of billions of euros. Sovereignty is also about having the control of the infrastructure, cloud, hardware as well as software, and being able to anticipate the mutations in the industry, not see that mutations would be imposed from the outside. So sovereignty is about the whole chain, from the data collection to the use with the hardware, with everything in the loop. Sovereignty can be understood at various scales for political entities, but Europe is an extremely relevant scale for this. First, because at European scale, we can have all the diversity of talents, skills, and specialties that one can hope for. Second, because at European level, we may have some sufficient means for this, enough investment in a world at a time at which the amount of investment that is available either in America or in Asia has by far gone beyond what Europe so far has been able to put on the market. Recently, there was the announcement by the city of Tianjin in China of a total investment of more than $10 billion just for that one city. And we've seen, on the other hand, how European governments have difficulties putting aside a few billions to advance their projects and their strategies. Investment at European scale will be much more convincing and competitive. And thirdly, but not least, European scale is the right scale for economic market. All the applications and developments of AI are related not just to technology, but also to business. It's about consumer use, it's about the possibility of having the applications adopted by the industry, by the companies. And so you need some large market to be able to be in competition with the huge domestic markets that there are, either in the US or in China. And European size is okay for a market, at least if it is not fragmented, if it is not invaded by barriers, be they legal or cultural. Now, with all this, we need to find how, at European level, to support our champions, our skills, our talents. It's something that we felt very strongly in France, which boasts a tradition of talents, in particular in research. And by the way, Yann Lequin, who is one of those who was awarded the Turing Award, is indeed a French researcher. But we've seen over the past years the best researchers in AI being attracted by the private sector, in particular coming from the US, and very good intelligent laboratories run by US-led companies. But it's good to have exchanges, it's good to have careers of researchers that go from public to private, from theory to experimentation to industry and so on. But if it's only in one direction, it's not a healthy situation. And we understood that we have a lot to do at the French scale to improve our attractivity. That was one of the main recommendations in the report, to a number of changes and measures and mutations for restructuring the research sector in AI and improve the attractivity. In particular, labeling some particular centers as excellent centers with a lot of interdisciplinary research that we dubbed Interdisciplinary Institute for Artificial Intelligence. Some of the other steps that we took were the creation of an independent ethics committee to advise government in case of need, some actions about the training, some programs, priority programs related to the economy and or the industry, in particular in health, where we are setting up a platform, a national platform for data sharing, in mobility, in defense, and in the environment. Some of these programs are advancing well, and for others we have much more difficulties. Also, some number of measures about the teaching, about the job observation, about the possibility of cooperation between different worlds. But all of these measures and steps have a natural translation and development at the scale of Europe. And we strongly hope, I strongly hope, that in the future Europe will be able to think of a global strategy to make the best of each of its members, using the fact that in various countries you have some champions and some great skills. And for instance, in the infrastructure in France, you have some of the best cloud expertise that can be thought of. In the domain of automatic translation, certainly Germany is the country that has the best in the world, and so on and so forth. And you can map this and see how to organize this in a huge European set of excellence. Also taking into account the fact that different cultures at European level can result in different roles. Northern Europe it's much more easy for them to do some experiments, in particular because the level of trust with respect to the government, for instance, is much higher. Some roles in the AI in the AI ecosystem, let's say globally, will be more easily attributed to some parts of Europe than to others. Also, another example is the fact that there is a huge reservoir of talents in Eastern Europe when it comes to skills in computer science, mathematical sciences, that currently are much more attracted towards America than towards Europe in general. Plus, there is a possibility that federating the actors would result in some quite attractive offers. For instance, federating the actors of research, federating the institutions for higher education, working on something that would play for artificial intelligence the attractive role that Erasmus program has played for studies in general, putting together the skills and resources. There has been recently set up an agency for high-performance computing at the scale of Europe that indeed will play a major role to help every lab in Europe, when it is correctly set up, to have access to computing power that will be useful everywhere, etc., etc. This is something we have to work on, also keeping in mind that Europe is bound to implement in its AI, has the duty to implement in its AI some of the values that it thinks of itself as defining. Being very careful on ethics, protection of private life. Of course, it is at European level that general protection regulation, data regulation, general personal data regulation was implemented. Now it's been copied at other places in the world, but it was natural that it start in Europe. And also a challenge for the fight for environment. Europe is the continent on which the appetite for this is most developed. We have also to develop the tools for AI to handle this, and also to develop some special projects related to the European identity. For instance, related to translation in a continent that has so much difficulty to organize itself in terms of economy because of the diversity of languages and culture. All this is something that we have to organize, taking into account both the community level and the level of cooperations between states. And in this respect, the French-German cooperation, for sure, will be one of the most major steps to achieve. In my personal career, I have seen the power of the French-German cooperation, and actually it turned out that my first international significant collaboration was with a German researcher, an unexpected collaboration that turned out to give what is still my most quoted paper. And from this and other experiences, I got the conviction that when you manage to put together the French and German expertise, nothing can beat you. However, that is not easy in practice. And I have experienced also in the wake of the AI plan how different are the organizations and the way to see things from France to Germany. Political systems are so different, but also there are some specificities and also a feeling of competition in some sectors that will be tricky to reorganize as a cooperation. For this, we will have to organize the contact, the common vision, and this can come only from repeated contacts, and that is what I have tried to organize at my personal level. I've paid visit to various actors in the AI German ecosystem over the past few months. I think it's my fifth visit in 5 months or something like that. And every time gaining more and more knowledge and trust with various actors at Bundestag, with members working for government, with people in the technology. And it will be our pleasure also in France to welcome everybody who is interested in developing the relation between French and German ecosystems in AI and organize together the common vision, being at the level of research, at the level for which there is a definite plan going on, be it at the level of economy, being at the level of technology, or big challenges that may be set up. For this, it's important to recall one of the most important lessons that I learned from my mission in AI. A priori, when we start thinking of AI, we may think the big challenges and the obstacles are of technological nature. But that is a view from the past. Nowadays, the main obstacles in practice are at the human level, how to organize the trust and the common vision. In various experiments that I have seen, for instance, for modernization of administration, putting AI in this or that technology, the most difficult step was to manage to put people together at the same table with trust and common vision. And after that step has been achieved, the rest follows step by step. This is true at small scale. This certainly will be true at large scale. And we need events in which people working on AI come together from different countries, not just people in governments, not just people doing public relations, but also experts working on the field, implementing algorithms development. It's my wish that we manage to organize such regular events, for instance, French-German forum on industry, on certain topic, or whatever other subject in which we need to develop common trust and common vision with a view of the future European sovereignty in AI. Thank you very much.